The stars looked different from Europa. Captain Daniel Wright stood at the viewing port of the USV Horizon, watching the gas giant Jupiter fill half the sky. The year was 2145, and humanity had spread across the solar system. Mining bases on Mars, research stations on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and even a small colony on Mercury's dark side. But they had never found other intelligent life. Until today. "Captain, we're picking up strange energy readings. Nothing like we've seen before," said Officer Paul Green. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. Daniel walked closer to the main screen. Source: about 50,000 kilometers out. It just appeared. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this could mean. After decades of searching, hoping, and sometimes fearing, this might be it. "Send the greeting package," Daniel ordered. Earth's governments had prepared the message years ago. Basic math, images of humans, and simple language lessons. Dr. Lisa Porter, the ship's Sinolinguist, moved to Paul's station. Her job had been theoretical until now. "This is what I've trained for my whole life," she whispered, her voice shaking with excitement. The minutes ticked by. The crew of the Horizon hardly breathed. "Captain, we're receiving a response," Paul shouted suddenly. On the main screen, an image formed. The bridge crew gasped. The being had a face like a cat, with fur in shades of blue and silver. Its eyes were large and golden. It wore something like a uniform. "Recording everything," Lisa said, her hands moving quickly. "The signal contains data packets. I think they're sending us language information." For the next 6 hours, Lisa worked with the ship's AI to decode the alien transmission. The crew learned that the visitors called themselves Fellerans. They were part of something called the Galactic Council, a group of over 30 different alien species that work together across many star systems. "They seemed surprised by us," Lisa told the captain during a break. "From what I can understand, they've been watching our system for a long time. But they didn't expect us to develop space travel so quickly." Daniel frowned. "Do they see that as a good thing or a bad thing?" Lisa shook her head. "I'm not sure yet." By the third day, Lisa could speak basic phrases with the Fellerans. The alien ship had moved closer, allowing both crews to see each other clearly through video links. Captain Rezin, the Felleran commander, seemed both curious and worried about the humans. "Your species is very young," Rezin said during one conversation. The translation wasn't perfect, but the meaning was clear. From simple flight machines to space travel in less than 200 years. Most species take twice that long. Daniel smiled proudly. "Humans adapt quickly. We solve problems." Razin's ears twitched, perhaps a sign of concern. "Yes, we have noticed this. The council will be interested." On the 5th day, Razin made an offer that changed human history forever. "The council wishes to meet your leaders. Will Earth send representatives?" The communication to Earth caused worldwide excitement. Governments argued about who would go, what they would say, and how they would represent humanity. In the end, they chose a team of diplomats, scientists, and military advisors. "This is our chance to join something bigger than ourselves," Daniel told his crew as they prepared to return to Earth with the news. "The stars are no longer out of reach." Lisa wasn't so sure. During her conversations with the Fellerans, she had noticed something. When they thought the translation system was off, they spoke among themselves with concern. She had caught phrases like "developing too fast" and "potential threat." As the Horizon broke orbit from Europa, heading home with their world-changing news, Lisa looked back at the Felleran ship. The aliens were sending regular updates to their council now. Something told her that humanity's welcome might not be as warm as everyone hoped. On Earth, people celebrated. News channels showed crowds cheering in every major city. "We are not alone," the headlines declared. But no one realized that in a distant corner of the galaxy, the oldest members of the Galactic Council were already starting to worry about the strange, quick-learning species they had just discovered. Humanity was about to step onto a much larger stage, and not everyone in the audience would be happy to see them. 6 months after first contact, Earth's diplomatic team arrived at the Galactic Council headquarters on Axanar Prime. The journey had taken 3 weeks aboard a Felleran transport ship, as human vessels were not yet capable of traveling between stars. Ambassador Peter Collins looked out the viewport as they approached the massive space station. It was shaped like a wheel with 12 spokes, each representing one of the founding species of the Council. The structure gleamed silver against the blue-green planet below. "It's beautiful," said Dr. Alan Ross, the chief scientist of the mission. His eyes were wide with wonder. Major Susan Kelly stood beside them, her posture stiff. As the military advisor to the team, she was more concerned with defense capabilities than beauty. "Look at the weapon emplacements," she whispered. "They're hidden, but they're everywhere." The human delegation consisted of 15 people: diplomats, scientists, cultural experts, and 2 military officers. They had trained intensely for this moment, learning everything they could about the Council from the information the Fellerans had shared. Their Felleran guide, Turnak, led them through the docking bay. The humans tried not to stare at the many alien species moving around them. Some walked on 6 legs, others floated above the ground. Some had multiple eyes or no eyes at all. "The council chamber is ready for your introduction," Turnak said. "All 32 member species have representatives present. This is a rare honor." Peter straightened his jacket. "We understand the importance of this moment, Turnak. Earth is grateful for the invitation." As they entered the vast circular chamber, a hush fell over the assembled aliens. Seats rose in tiers around a central speaking platform. The lighting adjusted automatically to accommodate the different visual needs of each species. "Humans of Earth," announced a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin. "I am High Counselor Venteri of the Valorians. We welcome you to this gathering of civilizations." Peter stepped forward and delivered the speech that had been carefully crafted by Earth's best minds. He spoke of peace, cooperation, and humanity's desire to learn from their galactic neighbors. When he finished, there was a moment of silence. Then a buzzing sound came from a group of insect-like beings. "The Quillari Hive questions the wisdom of this introduction," translated a mechanical voice. "The humans have advanced too quickly. Their history is filled with conflict. They are dangerous." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Susan tensed, but Peter remained calm. "We acknowledge our imperfect past," Peter replied, "but we have grown. In the last century, we have reduced global conflicts by 80%. We have begun to heal our planet's environment. We come seeking friendship and knowledge." The debate continued for hours. Some council members spoke in favor of humans, praising their creativity and adaptability. Others expressed deep concerns. An elder Valorian finally rose to speak. "We have seen species like humans before, quick to learn, quick to fight. But perhaps we judge too harshly. I propose a compromise. Earth will be granted probationary membership with restrictions." The terms were clear. Humans could not expand beyond their solar system, could not receive advanced technology, and would be closely monitored for at least 50 years. Peter consulted quietly with his team. Susan was angry, Dr. Ross disappointed, but they had expected something like this. "We accept these terms," Peter announced to the council. "Earth understands that trust must be earned." After the session, the human team gathered in their assigned quarters. The rooms were comfortable but clearly designed for monitoring. "They're afraid of us," Susan said, pacing the floor. "Did you see how they reacted when you mentioned our progress in nuclear fusion?" Peter nodded. "They think we're developing too fast. The Valorians took 500 years to achieve what we did in 100. So what's our next move?" asked Dr. Ross. Peter looked at his team, his expression serious. "In public, we play by their rules. We're the polite newcomers, grateful for any scraps of knowledge they throw our way." His voice lowered. "But privately, we prepare. They're underestimating us. Always a mistake." Outside their quarters, the council races debated long into the night. Most believed the restrictions would keep humans safely contained. Only the oldest species remembered how quickly a determined civilization could advance, even under watchful eyes. They had no idea what humanity would accomplish in just 3 short years. 3 years passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council as a probationary member. On the surface, humans followed all the rules. They kept their ships within the solar system. They attended council meetings with respect and patience. They traded only approved goods with approved species. But beneath this obedience, humanity worked quietly and quickly. In an underground facility on Mars, General Susan Kelly, now the head of Earth's space military program, watched as engineers tested a new engine design. "How fast?" she asked the lead engineer. "Twice as fast as anything the council has shown us," he replied with a proud smile. "We reverse-engineered it from the parts of that damaged Glary scout ship we found near Neptune." Susan nodded. The official story was that the scout ship had crashed due to a navigation error. In truth, it had been carefully disabled by a human stealth vessel, then towed to a secret facility. "The council still thinks we're decades away from developing our own faster-than-light travel," Susan said. "Let's keep it that way." Across the solar system, humans were making similar breakthroughs. On Earth, scientists studied alien biology and medicine. On Titan, engineers built better weapons and shields. On Mercury, a new type of communication system was being tested, one that the council couldn't monitor. All of this happened while council observers watched only the approved research centers, completely unaware of humanity's real progress. Then came the discovery that changed everything. The USV Discovery, commanded by Captain Frank Martinez, was on a routine mission near the edge of the solar system. Officially, they were studying ice formations on a distant dwarf planet. Unofficially, they were testing the new engine that could take them beyond council-controlled space. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Officer Diane Lewis, the pilot. "We can be back within 24 hours. The council observers will never know we left." Frank nodded. "Take us out, nice and easy." The ship slipped away from the solar system, its new stealth technology hiding it from the council monitoring stations. Their destination was a star system that the council had marked as uninhabited on their shared star maps. 6 hours later, the Discovery entered orbit around a small rocky planet. Initial scans showed no life, but there were unusual energy readings from the surface. "Could be natural minerals," suggested Science Officer Greg Winters. Or something else," Frank finished. "Let's find out. Prepare a landing team." The planet's surface was cold and windswept. The landing team of 5, led by Frank himself, made their way across rocky terrain toward the source of the energy readings. What they found left them speechless. Half buried in the rocky ground was a structure, clearly artificial, clearly ancient. Its walls were made of a black material that seemed to absorb light. "This isn't council technology," Greg said, running his scanner over the surface. "The materials don't match anything in our database." Inside the structure, they found a chamber filled with objects that looked like data storage devices. They were covered in symbols unlike any council language. "These are old," Greg whispered. "Really old, maybe predating the council itself." Frank made a quick decision. "Take as many as we can carry. We need to study these." As they loaded the artifacts onto their shuttle, Greg's scanner beeped urgently. "Captain, something's approaching. It's big and moving fast." They rushed to get back to the Discovery. As they cleared the planet's atmosphere, they saw it, a council enforcement vessel, 3 times the size of their ship. "USV Discovery, you are in violation of Council Directive 447. You have left your authorized space. Power down and prepare to be boarded," came the message. Frank looked at his crew. They all knew what would happen if they were caught with the artifacts. The council would learn how far human technology had advanced. They would know about the secret research. "We can outrun them," Diane said. "The new engine can do it." Frank made his choice. Maximum speed. Get us home. The Council ship fired a warning shot. The Discovery didn't slow down. Instead, it accelerated, pushing its new engine to full power. "They're targeting our engines," reported the tactical officer. "Evasive maneuvers," Frank ordered, "and return fire, just enough to slow them down." It was the first combat between humans and a Council species. The Discovery was smaller but more agile. Its weapons weren't as powerful, but they were precisely aimed. After a tense battle, the Discovery managed to damage the Council ship's sensors and escape into faster-than-light travel. "Set course for the backup base on Europa, not Earth," Frank ordered. "We need to hide these artifacts until we understand what we found." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was in chaos. Representatives from 32 species shouted, buzzed, and flashed colors in their various languages. News of the human ship's escape had spread quickly. High Counselor Venteri slammed a ceremonial staff against the floor 3 times. The room gradually fell silent. "We will discuss this matter with order and reason," the Valorian leader said, his voice calm but firm. "That is our way." On the main display, images from the damaged Council enforcement ship played. The human vessel Discovery was shown firing weapons, executing impossible maneuvers, then vanishing into faster-than-light travel. "Their technology should not be this advanced," said a Quillari representative, her mandibles clicking with agitation. "They have violated all terms of their probation." A Felleran diplomat raised a paw. "Perhaps we should consider that humans advanced this quickly within the restrictions we placed on them." This shows both ingenuity and determination. These could be valuable traits for the Council. The room divided quickly. Those who saw humans as a threat versus those who saw potential allies. Council Elder Mithran, one of the oldest Valorians, rose slowly from his seat. The chamber fell silent again. When an elder spoke, all listened. "I have seen this pattern before," Mithran said, his voice thin but powerful. 800 years ago, the Krell developed weapons beyond their maturity as a species. They destroyed 3 worlds before we could stop them." He paused, looking around the room. 3,000 years ago, the Nexari reached for technology they did not understand. Their entire civilization collapsed in less than a decade. The elder's eyes swept across the gathered representatives. "A young species develops too quickly, without the wisdom to match their technological prowess. The results are always catastrophic, not just for them, but for all nearby worlds." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Eric Campbell worked frantically in a hidden laboratory beneath Denver. As the lead scientist for alien technology integration, he had been the first to see the artifacts from the Discovery. "The energy readings are off the charts," he told his team of 20 scientists. "And the material composition doesn't match anything we've seen before, not even from the most advanced Council species." On the wall screen, the symbols from the artifacts scrolled continuously as AI programs attempted to decode them. "Whatever civilization made these," Eric continued, "they were far beyond the current Council technology, and for some reason, the Council buried all evidence of them." One of the younger scientists looked up from her screen. "Dr. Campbell, I think these are weapon designs. Look at these power distribution patterns. They match theoretical models for directed energy weapons, but at least 100 times more powerful than anything we've developed." Eric studied the data. "If you're right, a single ship with this technology could stand against an entire Council fleet." The scientist nodded. "Exactly, which is probably why the Council doesn't want anyone to find it." Back in the Council chamber, the debate had continued for 3 days. Reports of human technological advancements were presented by various intelligence agencies. The evidence was clear. Humanity had far exceeded the development timeline the Council had anticipated. "They have established research outposts throughout their solar system," reported a Draconian analyst. "They have reversed-engineered components from at least 5 different Council species." "How did we miss this?" demanded a representative from the Polarian Union. "They showed us what they wanted us to see," replied the analyst. "They maintained perfect compliance with our observation protocols while conducting their real work in hidden facilities." The Council voted to send a special investigative team to Earth to assess the full extent of human advancement. However, when the team arrived at the Sol system, they discovered something alarming. Human ships were now equipped with detection countermeasures that the Council couldn't penetrate. "We can only scan what they allow us to scan," the team leader reported back. "They are now controlling what we see." This news sent a wave of fear through the Council. Species that had once been indifferent to the human question now joined the faction calling for immediate action. After a week of debate, the Council made its decision. A vote was called. The result was clear: 28 species in favor, 4 against. The human species has demonstrated a dangerous pattern of deception and rapid military advancement, High Counselor Ventari announced. They have violated the terms of their probationary membership. The news of the Galactic Council's ban spread across Earth like wildfire. Citizens gathered in public spaces, watching massive screens as reports came in. Council ships appeared at the edges of the solar system, hundreds of them forming a blockade that surrounded humanity's home. President Laura Adams stood before the United Earth government in New Geneva. At 52, she had risen to leadership through her calm handling of several global crises. Now she faced the greatest challenge any human leader had ever encountered. "Today, the Galactic Council has shown its true nature," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "They fear what they cannot control. They limit what they cannot understand. Throughout our history, humanity has faced those who would limit our potential. We have always overcome these challenges. This will be no different." Her speech was broadcast to every human settlement from Mercury to the moons of Neptune. Billions watched as she outlined the Council's demands. "They want us to surrender all advanced technology. They want us to dismantle our deep space capabilities. They want us to accept permanent confinement to our solar system." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "We will do none of these things." The response from the public was immediate. Not panic, but a surge of unity and determination that surprised even Council observers who monitored Earth's communications. What the Council didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for this moment since the first day of contact. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a facility known only as Bunker 1, military leaders gathered around a holographic display of the solar system. "Contingency Omega is now active," announced General Susan Kelly. Her hair had more gray now, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. "All hidden facilities are switching to full production mode. Our stealth fleet is moving into position." Admiral Victor Perez, commander of Earth's space forces, studied the positions of the Council ships. "Their blockade has gaps. They don't know our full capabilities. We can slip smaller vessels through here, and here." He pointed to several points on the display. "What about the evacuation plan?" asked a senior officer. "Already underway," Susan replied. "Captain Ryan Edwards is leading the mission." In orbit around Mars, a ship that didn't appear on any official registry prepared for departure. The USV Phantom was a marvel of human engineering, a vessel designed to be invisible to Council sensors. Its hull absorbed scanning beams instead of reflecting them. Its engines left no traditional energy signature. Captain Ryan Edwards addressed the 40 people on board, all of them top scientists in various fields of advanced technology, along with their families. "Our mission is simple but critical," he said. "We're transporting you to Colony Alpha. There, you'll continue your work beyond the reach of the Council. What you develop may determine the future of our species." Dr. Eric Campbell stood among the scientists. In a secure case beside him were the most important of the artifacts recovered by the Discovery. "I've made a breakthrough," he told Ryan quietly. "The symbols are starting to make sense. They're not just weapon designs. They're a completely different approach to energy manipulation. Whoever built these artifacts could restructure matter at the subatomic level." Ryan's eyes widened. "Can we replicate this technology?" Eric nodded slowly. "Given time and resources, yes. And if we succeed, The Council's technology will seem primitive by comparison. As the Phantom prepared to slip through the blockade, other parts of Contingency Omega activated across the solar system. Hidden shipyards around Jupiter's moons increased production. Military bases on asteroids prepared defensive systems. And most importantly, communication was established with the secret human colonies already established beyond the solar system. In her office in New Geneva, President Adams received updates on all these activities. She opened a secure channel to address the hidden colony leaders. The Council believes they are containing us. They don't realize that humanity has already spread beyond their reach. Each of your colonies now represents the future of our species. You have the best minds, the most advanced technology, and resources the Council knows nothing about. She leaned closer to the screen. We need time. The blockade around Earth will keep the Council's attention here while you build our strength out there. When we finally reveal ourselves, we must be ready to defend our right to exist as equals, not as subordinates. On Colony Alpha, located in a star system not on any Council chart, humans were already building a civilization free from Council restrictions. Similar work was happening on 6 other hidden colonies. 3 months after the Council imposed its ban, the blockade around the Sol system had grown tighter. Council ships patrolled every approach to Earth's solar system, their sensors constantly scanning for any sign of human vessels attempting to leave. What they couldn't detect were the small stealth ships that slipped through their net almost daily. Captain Nicole Harris commanded one such vessel, the USV Shadow. Her mission was not to transport scientists or technology, but to establish contact with potential allies among the younger Council species. Approaching Fellerin Colony World, Lyris II reported her navigator. No Council patrols detected in this sector. Nicole nodded. Good. Maintain stealth protocols until we reach the designated meeting point. The Shadow entered orbit around the forest world. Unlike most Council planets, this Fellerin colony was relatively new and far from the central systems. The Fellarans themselves had only been Council members for about 500 years, young by Council standards. On the surface, Ambassador Kirath waited nervously. As a mid-level Felleran diplomat, he was taking an enormous risk meeting with humans. If the Council discovered his actions, he would face severe punishment. Nicole's team landed in a small clearing miles from any settlement. The human and Felleran representatives faced each other cautiously. Why should we help you? Kirath asked, his fur rippling with anxiety. The Council is powerful. They control trade routes, technology, and defense for most of the galaxy. Nicole smiled. Because the Council has been lying to all of us. They've been holding back technological development to maintain control. We have proof. She showed him images of the artifacts and explained what humans had discovered, evidence that an advanced civilization had existed before the Council, and that the founding Council races had hidden this knowledge. The oldest species don't share technology equally, Nicole continued. Haven't you noticed? The Valorians, the Quillari, and the others who founded the Council, they always have better ships, better weapons, better medicine than the rest of us. Kirath's ears flattened. We have suspected this, but we never had proof. Now you do. And we're offering to share what we learn with you, as equals. This scene repeated across the galaxy as human diplomats secretly met with representatives from the Fellerans, the Draconians, and 2 other younger Council races. Within weeks, a secret alliance began to form, species who felt limited by Council restrictions, joining with humans to share knowledge and resources. Meanwhile, Dr. Eric Campbell and his team on Colony Alpha made rapid progress with the artifacts. They worked day and night in a facility built into the side of a mountain on a planet humans had named New Hope. We've cracked the basic principles, Eric announced to his team after weeks of non-stop work. These aren't conventional weapons at all. They're space-time manipulation devices. They don't destroy targets. They temporarily phase them into another dimension. One of his colleagues looked up from a complex simulation. If we can replicate this technology, it would revolutionize not just warfare, but energy production, transportation, everything. On the other side of the galaxy, the Council discovered one of the secret human colonies. The patrol ship stumbled upon New Horizon, a settlement of nearly 10,000 humans on a planet that should have been uninhabited according to Council records. The Council immediately dispatched a fleet to neutralize the illegal colony. 20 warships arrived, expecting to find a helpless settlement they could easily bring to heel. Instead, they found a heavily defended world with technology that shouldn't have existed. Even more shocking, the colony wasn't just humans. Fellerins, Draconians, and members of other loyal Council races lived and worked alongside the humans. "This is Commander Voles of the Council Enforcement Fleet," transmitted the lidship. "You are in violation of Council law. Surrender immediately or face destruction." Governor Beth Wilson of New Horizon stood in the colony's control center, surrounded by humans and aliens working together. She opened a channel to respond. "This colony and its people are not subject to Council law," she replied firmly. "We represent the Alliance of Progress, an independent association of free worlds. We have no hostile intent toward the Council, but we will defend ourselves if attacked." The Council commander, never having faced such defiance, ordered his ships to advance. What followed was the Battle of New Horizon, the first major defeat of Council forces in over 2,000 years. The human design shields absorbed the Council weapons. The hybrid weapons developed by human and Fellerin scientists disabled Council ships without destroying them. The Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly on Nexus Station hummed with the voices of representatives from over 50 species. Unlike the old Council chamber on Axanar Prime, this new meeting place had been built on neutral territory, a space station orbiting an uninhabited star. The circular design meant no species sat above others, and translation systems ensured everyone understood each other perfectly. 6 months had passed since the Battle of New Horizon and the galaxy-wide revelation of the Council's secrets. The political earthquake that followed had reshaped interstellar relations forever. President Laura Adams of Earth walked to the central speaking platform. At her side were representatives from the Fellerins, Draconians, and other founding members of the Alliance of Progress. "We gather today not to replace one form of control with another," Laura began, her voice carrying clearly through the hall. "We never wanted conflict. Humanity seeks knowledge, growth, and peaceful coexistence, but never at the cost of our freedom to reach our full potential. No species should have that potential limited by others." Around the room, many representatives nodded in agreement. Even some of the older Council species that had initially opposed the humans were now present, though the eldest, the Valorians, Kulari, and 3 others, had withdrawn to their core worlds, refusing to join this new galactic order. The old Council believed that controlling technology was necessary for peace, Laura continued, but they were wrong. True stability comes from cooperation and mutual respect, not from holding others back. After her speech, the new Galactic Assembly voted on its founding principles: open technological development, mutual defense, and the right of all species to advance at their own pace without artificial limitations. Meanwhile, on the Valorian homeworld, High Elder Mithran watched the proceedings via a secure feed. The once mighty leader looked tired, his blue skin faded with age and stress. "They do not understand the dangers," he told his aide. "We tried to protect them from themselves." His aide, younger and less rigid in his thinking, dared to respond. "Perhaps it was not our right to decide for others. The humans have shared technology rather than weaponizing it all. Their medical advances have already saved billions of lives across the galaxy." Mithran had no answer for this. The truth was uncomfortable. The humans had proven more responsible with advanced technology than the Council had predicted. 5 years after the human ban, the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have imagined. The human-led research into the ancient artifacts had unlocked new understanding of physics that revolutionized travel, energy production, and medicine. Faster-than-light travel was now twice as efficient as before, allowing exploration of previously unreachable parts of the galaxy. Human-Felleran cooperation had produced medical treatments that cured diseases that had decimated populations for generations. The new hybrid technology combined the best ideas from multiple species, advancing much faster than any single civilization could have managed alone. Admiral Daniel Wright, the captain who had first encountered the Fellerans all those years ago, now commanded the Alliance fleet flagship, the massive USV Unity. Standing on its observation deck, he looked out at the ships traveling alongside them. Vessels of 17 different species, all working together. The Unity led the fleet toward the newly constructed Galactic hub near Alpha Centauri, a massive space station that would serve as a center for research, diplomacy, and cultural exchange. It was the physical embodiment of humanity's vision for the future, a place where all species could contribute and benefit equally. "Did you ever imagine this when we made first contact?" asked Dr. Lisa Porter, now the Alliance's chief of xenolinguistics. She had been there at the beginning, helping translate those first messages with the Fellerans. Daniel shook his head. "Never. I thought we'd be the junior partners for centuries, learning at the feet of older civilizations." Lisa smiled. "Instead, we became the catalyst for change." "Not just us," Daniel corrected. "The Alliance. All of us together." On a view screen nearby, they could see ships arriving at the hub from across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies under the old council now traded and worked together. Younger civilizations that had never been allowed full council membership were now equal partners in the Alliance. In a secluded observation lounge on the edge of the hub, a Valorian elder, one of the few who had chosen to engage with the new order, watched the proceedings. A human diplomat approached, offering a gesture of respect. "We still have much to learn from your people," the human said politely. "Your history and wisdom are valuable to us."